The church stood in an eerie silence, a heavy stillness that clung to the air like a shroud, as if the very walls held their breath, waiting for the storm to break. In the suffocating silence of the hall, the air conditioning whispered its chilling tune, while the shuffling of feet echoed like a haunting refrain. Eyes filled with pity flickered my way, while others turned away, desperate to escape the weight of my gaze. My husband of 37 years, Richard, lay in a polished walnut casket, a serene figure amidst a sea of white lilies, his beloved blooms, whispering tales of love and loss. I perched in the front row, clad in a rigid black dress that had long been forgotten, my gaze locked onto his lifeless visage. My fingers gripped the handkerchief in my lap, its fabric already soaked with the weight of my tears. But grief swiftly receded into the shadows, overshadowed by a darkness I could never have foreseen on that fateful day. Just behind me, their voices crescendoed, a tempest of tension brewing in the air. "I warned you. Dad promised me the house." My eldest son, David, spat, his voice laced with betrayal and fury. My daughter, Amanda, fired back with a fierce intensity. The house, a looming spectre of secrets and shadows, where every creak of the floorboards whispers tales of despair and longing. What horrors lie within its walls? What truths are buried beneath the dust of forgotten memories? The air thickens with tension, as if the very walls themselves hold their breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. Is this a joke? What about Mother? And what of the business? What dark secrets lie beneath its polished surface? He declared, with a voice trembling with intensity, that I would take the reins of the business. Who? Me? You stand on the precipice of financial chaos, teetering on the edge, utterly unprepared to navigate the treacherous waters of a checkbook. Their words sliced through the atmosphere, sharp and merciless, each syllable a dagger aimed at my very soul. Whispers rippled through the crowd as eyes darted, drawn to the unfolding spectacle. Guests squirmed in their seats, a palpable tension hanging in the air. Some cleared their throats, while others exchanged hushed whispers, the atmosphere thick with unease. Yet, I remained steadfast, refusing to look back. I sat there, paralyzed, as the weight of the moment crashed down around me. They clashed, voices rising in a tempest of fury over Richard's inheritance, even as his lifeless form lay untouched within the church's solemn embrace. As I perched beside his casket, the echoes of our once vibrant life shattered around me, devoured by the merciless claws of despair, like vultures feasting on the remnants of our shattered love. Do you truly believe that heading a charity bestows upon you the mantle of responsibility? David spat the words out, laced with venom. At least I'm not suffocating under a mountain of debt, exploiting my father's tragic demise for a quick profit. Amanda unleashed her fury. Suddenly, a third voice pierced the air, the innocent yet piercing tone of our youngest, Mark. Everything hangs in the balance, a fragile thread of fate, as the will remains shrouded in silence, unread and untouched. Cease this savage brawl at once. Father would be filled with utter disgrace. But Mark's voice quivered, a fragile thread of emotion, not from anger, absolutely not, driven by terror. The gut-wrenching terror that seizes you when you witness your family splintering apart right before your very eyes. I finally twisted my head, just a fraction, just enough to catch a glimpse of them lurking in the shadows of my vision. David's face burned crimson, veins throbbing like a tempest, ready to unleash its fury. Amanda's arms were crossed defiantly, her lips pressed into a thin, unforgiving line. Mark stood there, a figure adrift in a storm of confusion, his eyes wide with the weight of uncertainty. The urge to scream clawed at my throat, a tempest of emotions swirling within me, desperate to break free. With a surge of defiance coursing through my veins, I yearned to rise and command their departure, to shatter the silence with my will. Yet, there I remained, a silent figure beside the casket, the weight of the moment pressing down like a heavy shroud. The casket of my husband, a haunting reminder of love lost, lies before me, shrouded in sorrow and despair. In that very moment, everything changed. David lunged forward, his finger stabbing the air, as he accused Amanda with a fierce intensity. "You were a ghost, haunting the edges of my life, always just out of reach. Do not pretend for a moment that you ever cared. I remained, caught in the tempest of my own choices. I was there for Dad in every possible way, through thick and thin, standing by his side as the world around us spun into chaos. Amanda violently thrust his hand aside, her fury palpable in the air. "Do not lay a finger on me." Their voices crescendoed once more, a tempest brewing in the air. A handful of guests rose, their intentions clear, the air thick with unspoken tension as they prepared to depart. One of Richard's old business partners leaned in, eyes wide with disbelief, and whispered, "Unbelievable." Another woman, her heart heavy with despair, shook her head in utter shame. And then, a sound pierced the silence, shattering my very soul into a million irretrievable pieces. "She doesn't need the money," Amanda declared, her voice icy as her piercing gaze locked onto mine. "She possesses the house, a fortress of secrets and shadows. Allow her to linger in that place, where time stretches endlessly before her, a haunting echo of what once was. We demand the rest." She spoke of me as if I were a ghost, lingering in the shadows, unseen and unheard. I rose to my feet, each movement heavy with anticipation. The church was engulfed in an eerie silence, a heavy stillness that hung in the air like a thick fog, suffocating every whisper and heartbeat. Every gaze pierced through the air, fixated on my very being. My hands shook violently as I stood before my children, the weight of the moment crashing down around us. "You're fighting over money," I exclaimed, my voice trembling with emotion as I gestured towards the cold, silent box that held your father. Amanda's lips parted, a gasp ready to escape, but I swiftly lifted my hand, silencing the storm brewing within her. My journey is far from over. In the heavy stillness, a profound silence enveloped the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for the storm to break. Could this truly be the outcome he envisioned? Do you truly believe he toiled endlessly, pouring his very soul into every moment, only for you to rip each other to shreds in this merciless way? Silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating. No one answered. Silence hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that gripped the hearts of all present. No one dared to move. I cast my gaze upon them, David, Amanda, and Mark, each one a character in this unfolding tale of tension and uncertainty. And in that fleeting instant, my children vanished from my sight. I beheld the unfamiliar, their presence a haunting spectre in the shadows. "Very well. Do you dare to uncover the truth of who claims what? The stakes are high, and the revelations will leave you breathless. Prepare yourselves, for I am about to unveil a truth that has remained shrouded in darkness, hidden from your very eyes." And then, in a moment that felt like an eternity, I paused. For the words I was on the brink of uttering held the power to unravel the very fabric of our existence. What they were blissfully unaware of was the earth-shattering truth. 2 months prior to Richard's untimely demise, we had altered the will. He abandoned it all, casting the weight of his legacy squarely upon my shoulders. And in that moment, I forged a choice that would alter the very fabric of my existence. I gazed at them, my eyes ablaze with intensity, and in a hushed tone, I uttered, "You'll discover the truth by dawn." Then, with a heavy heart, I pivoted, my steps echoing in the silence as I approached the casket. My hand hovered for a moment, before it descended softly onto the polished wood, a final farewell to the stillness within. My tears surged once more. Not solely for Richard, but for the family unravelling before his very memory, a tragic spectacle unfolding in the shadows of loss. Behind me, they lingered, paralysed by disbelief. But what none of them could possibly fathom, what would unravel in the tumultuous days ahead, was that I harboured schemes of my own, plans that would shatter their expectations, leaving them gasping in disbelief. It all began with that fateful letter from the lawyer, ominously perched at home, a harbinger of chaos yet to unfold. For I would not merely reveal to them what awaited, but unveil the stark truth of their unworthiness. By Wednesday, Amanda stormed into the room, her presence electrifying the air with unspoken tension. She didn't even bother to mask her intentions with a facade of affection. "Mum," she declared, her silhouette framed in the doorway, clad in a designer coat, her sunglasses firmly in place, as if the world outside could not touch her. "Shall we engage in a conversation? What of the funeral? Or the inheritance, a dark shadow looming over us all?" I demanded, my voice devoid of emotion. Her smile quivered, a fragile mask on the brink of shattering. "Do not dare to act in such a manner." Oh, the tension was palpable, a storm brewing in the air. But you know how David spirals into chaos. And then there was Mark. He struts around, playing the role of the peacemaker, as if the world hinges on his every word. It's simply overwhelming. My gaze locked onto her, a tempest of emotions swirling within me. She never once inquired about my well-being. Not a single word about her father, as if he never existed in her world. She descended upon the chair, an unexpected presence, shattering the silence with her audacity. "Listen closely." Dad made it abundantly clear, time and time again, that I was promised a stake in the business. For years I have poured my heart and soul into my charity, battling against the odds, and now, in this moment of desperation, I find myself in dire need of capital. "And your father's death appeared to be a perfect opportunity?" I inquired softly, the weight of the words hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Her cheeks ignited with a fiery blush. "How could this be? It's utterly unjust." "No," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of defiance. "It is absolutely not." I stood, heart racing, as the weight of the moment crashed down upon me. "Amanda, brace yourself. The revelation of your fate awaits you this Friday. Until that fateful moment arrives, I believe it is in our best interest for you to stay away." Her eyes widened in disbelief as she blinked at me, a moment suspended in time, fraught with unspoken tension. "Are you really throwing me out?" "I'm pleading with you to honor the bond we share, to acknowledge your father, and to recognize my presence in this tumultuous moment." With a sudden burst of energy, she sprang to her feet, her coat swirling dramatically around her as she brushed it off, a tempest of emotions brewing beneath the surface. "Oh, the gravity of your error weighs heavy, Mother. Mark my words, the consequences of your omission will haunt you forever." With a heart pounding like a drum, I approached the door, my hand trembling as I grasped the handle. In one swift motion, I flung it open, unleashing the unknown that lay beyond. And as she erupted from the room, I caught a fleeting glimpse of the fierce woman she had transformed into. Not the girl who once adorned my bathroom with her painted nails, weeping over the heartbreak of school dances. This woman was a chilling enigma. Sharper, as if she had forged her heart into a lethal weapon, ready to strike at any moment. That fateful night, I found myself perched on Richard's side of the bed, the air thick with unspoken tension. I gazed at the vacant pillow, my voice barely a whisper. "They're going to loathe me." But in the depths of my mind, I envisioned his voice echoing back. "Then they never loved you, as you deserved." Friday arrived with a thunderous roar, catching everyone off guard. Once more, I found myself at the lawyer's office, the clock ticking ominously as I stepped through the door, anticipation hanging thick in the air. The conference room lay in wait, meticulously arranged with pristine folders, a glistening carafe of water, and 4 chairs poised like silent sentinels, one for me and one each for the enigmatic David, the sharp-witted Amanda, and the ever-calm Mark. They crept in, one by one like shadows in the night. David, clad in a navy suit, strode forward with an air of gravity, as if the very fate of the world rested on his shoulders, each step echoing the impending drama of a courtroom showdown. Amanda stood there, arms crossed, a tempest of fury brewing within her. Mark stood there, a haunting figure, his silence heavy with exhaustion, eyes darkened as if the night itself had claimed his rest. Silence hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that wrapped around them like a shroud. Eyes averted, hearts racing, they stood in a world where connection had crumbled, and the weight of unspoken words loomed large. No one dared to meet another's gaze, as if the very act of looking could shatter the fragile facade they clung to. The silence hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that threatened to shatter at any moment. "Mr." Callahan burst through the door, the weight of the world in his hands as he slammed the folder onto the table, his piercing gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. He cleared his throat, the sound echoing like a thunderclap in the tense silence that enveloped the room. "Behold! The moment has arrived for the dramatic unveiling of the final will and testament of none other than Richard Allen Bennett." They leaned in, anticipation crackling in the air. "In a twist of fate, Mr. Bennett has chosen none other than his wife, Evelyn Bennett, to wield the power as the sole executor of the estate, a decision that echoes with tension and intrigue. In the wake of his demise, a tempest brews as all properties, businesses, accounts, and assets are thrust into her grasp, granting her absolute legal dominion. In the suffocating stillness, a heavy silence looms, thick and palpable, as if the very air holds its breath, waiting for the storm to break. Then, David exclaimed, "Wait. All of it?" Amanda's eyes narrowed, a storm brewing within their depths. "What will become of the shares? The house?" Mr. Callahan pressed on, his voice a thunderous echo in the charged atmosphere. In a twist of fate, Mr. Bennett's letter lay waiting, its words poised to echo through the air, while Mrs. Bennett's own directives lingered ominously, demanding to be heeded. With trembling hands, he tore open the envelope, the air thick with anticipation and dread. I beheld the expressions of my children, their eyes wide with wonder as Richard's voice echoed through the air, brought to life by his hauntingly powerful words. "If you're listening to these words, it means I have departed from this world, and I pray that my exit was serene. My heart was yours, every beat echoing with devotion, a love so profound it could shatter the very heavens." "David! Amanda! Mark!" The air crackles with tension, a storm brewing between them, secrets hanging heavy in the silence. What will unfold next? The world holds its breath. Yet, I must declare this with fervour. I've witnessed the transformation that wealth has wrought upon your very soul, and the very idea of my demise tearing you apart was a burden too heavy to bear. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, I have relinquished all that I hold dear to your mother, for she had never uttered a single plea. For she was the unwavering force that held us in a fragile embrace, the glue that bound our shattered pieces. Amanda let out a derisive laugh, her eyes narrowing with disdain. David's face flushed a deep crimson, as if the very flames of embarrassment had ignited within him. Mark's gaze fell, heavy with unspoken turmoil. "But, Mr." Callahan declared, dramatically retrieving my second envelope, "your mother has yet another revelation to unveil." I stood, heart racing, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a tidal wave of uncertainty. "Each of you shall receive a token of fate. A twist of destiny awaits. But the time has not come. Not yet. Not until you've shattered the illusions and laid bare the truth of your worth." David sprang to his feet, heart racing, as if the very air crackled with tension. "What?" Amanda's breath caught in her throat. "It is utterly impossible." With a sudden surge of determination, I thrust my hand into the air. "I can." Oh, the weight of those words. A declaration that echoes through the very fabric of existence, a promise that ignites the heart with fervour and anticipation. What will unfold next? The air crackles with tension, and the stage is set for a revelation that could change everything. And I shall. Your father placed his unwavering trust in me, believing I would choose wisely in this moment of reckoning. And I shall not surrender fragments of him to those wretched children who dare to trample upon his sacred memory. At long last, Mark's voice pierced the heavy silence. What could that possibly mean? My gaze pierced through him, then swept over the others, each face a canvas of tension and unspoken words. In the depths of uncertainty, a revelation looms. You will know. The truth will claw its way to the surface, shattering the silence that binds you. Prepare for the moment when clarity strikes like lightning, illuminating the shadows of doubt. You will know, and nothing will ever be the same again. In the not-so-distant future, a moment hangs in the air, heavy with anticipation. The clock ticks, each second a heartbeat, whispering the promise of what is to come, soon. And as I sank back into my seat, a chilling realization washed over me. The war had only just begun. The ride home was a suffocating silence, heavy with unspoken words and lingering tension. I found myself ensconced in the back seat of the taxi, my gaze fixed on the window, where the streets morphed into a dizzying whirl of colours and shadows, each moment a fleeting glimpse of a world I could barely grasp. The city continued its relentless march, oblivious to the tempest raging within me, a fierce storm gathering strength, ready to unleash its fury. In that conference room, a blaze of passion erupted, consuming all in its path. And now, the weight of the world pressed upon my shoulders, demanding that I seize the reins of chaos. My phone buzzed in my bag, a relentless reminder of urgency, for the fourth time. I felt no compulsion to verify it. It was him, David. The very name sent shivers down my spine, a revelation that pierced through the veil of uncertainty like a dagger in the night. He would shatter first, the fragile silence cracking like glass underfoot. I observed him with bated breath as the will was read aloud, every word hanging in the air like a ticking bomb, ready to explode with secrets and revelations. He was utterly devastated by the news. His leg trembled violently beneath the table, and his eyes blazed with a fierce disbelief that threatened to consume him whole. Amanda, in that moment, appeared as though her very essence had been stripped away, leaving her bereft of the regal grace she once commanded. Her fury was palpable, a tempest brewing within her very soul. But Mark? His heart lay shattered, a million pieces scattered across the floor of despair. In a whirlwind of uncertainty, the mind spirals into chaos, grappling with the shadows of doubt and the piercing echoes of unanswered questions. As if a fragment of his very soul had clung to the desperate hope that I would defy the odds, that I would emerge as something other than what fate had decreed. Perhaps I was too severe. Yet, I had bestowed upon them their fleeting opportunity. At the funeral, the air was thick with unspoken words and heavy hearts as shadows danced around the casket, whispering secrets of a life once lived. Grief hung like a shroud, enveloping the mourners in a chilling embrace, each face a canvas of sorrow painted with tears. The silence screamed, echoing the finality, and they fell into the abyss of failure. As I stood before my doorstep, a tempest of emotions surged within me, compelling me to pause, to linger in the shadows of uncertainty, before daring to cross the threshold into the familiar, yet foreboding embrace of home. As I perched on the front porch, the ancient rocking chair groaned ominously beneath my weight, while the wind danced mockingly with the delicate edges of the rose bushes Richard had so lovingly planted years ago, a haunting reminder of what once was. He adored those roses, their vibrant petals whispering secrets of passion and longing, each bloom a testament to a love that burned fiercely in the shadows. He adored our children with a fervour that could ignite the very heavens. But love sees all too clearly. It witnesses the darkest secrets, yet embraces with unwavering affection. With trembling hands, I plunged into the depths of my bag, my heart racing as I unearthed a second envelope, its presence heavy with unspoken secrets. Within the confines of that dimly lit room lay 3 sealed letters, each one a harbinger of fate, destined for the hands of its rightful owner. In the haunting aftermath of the funeral, I poured my soul onto the page, my heart still bleeding and my mind razor-sharp. Every letter unveiled a treacherous path, shrouded in mystery and fraught with peril. A formidable challenge looms ahead, shrouded in uncertainty and fraught with peril. A desperate quest to reclaim a fragment of the legacy their father once held dear. It's not merely the money at stake, it's the very essence of his values hanging in the balance. His legacy looms like a dark cloud, casting shadows over the lives it touched, a haunting reminder of choices made and paths taken. The echoes of his actions reverberate through time, leaving a trail of both admiration and despair. What will remain when the dust settles? a tale of triumph, or a cautionary whisper. The world holds its breath, waiting for the final act to unfold. I stepped into the room, heart racing, and with a swift motion, I shoved the letters into the drawer, as if hiding a dark secret. Then, with trembling fingers, I dialed 3 numbers, each ring echoing like a countdown to an inevitable confrontation. Silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of despair. No one picked up. As the shadows deepened and the clock ticked ominously, a message from David pierced the silence of my evening. David? How could you even think of such a thing? This is beyond comprehension. We are the offspring of his legacy, bound by blood and fate. Oh, but you must know, you are far from alone in this sea of sorrow. Silence enveloped the moment, a heavy shroud of unspoken words. I chose not to reply. As dawn broke, Mark arrived, a figure cloaked in uncertainty, his presence heavy with unspoken tension. He lingered in the kitchen doorway, a figure of uncertainty, as I poured the dark liquid into my cup, the silence thickening like a storm cloud overhead. "Hey," he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence, a tension hanging in the air like a storm about to unleash its fury. "Greetings. I needed to know how you are faring." I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave of realization. I'm all right. Or so I tell myself in the echoing silence of this moment where shadows loom and uncertainty dances on the edge of my thoughts. He paused, a storm of uncertainty raging within him. Little did I know, the shocking twist awaited me. Dad had altered the will. I thought. "I know," I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "He was desperate to avoid your wrath." Mark burst through the door, the weight of the world on his shoulders, and with a dramatic flourish, he yanked a chair from the table. "Mum, the money means nothing to me. I truly do not. I ache for him. And now, it seems as though the very fabric of existence is unraveling before my eyes." I scrutinized him with an intensity that could pierce through the very fabric of his soul. His face bore the weight of exhaustion, yet glimmered with an undeniable sincerity. He was the sole figure to step into the shadows of grief since the funeral's haunting echoes faded. Amidst the chaos, there stood one solitary figure, untouched by the clamour of demands that echoed around them. With trembling hands, I plunged into the depths of the drawer, the air thick with anticipation, and emerged with the envelope, presenting it to him as if it contained the very fate of our souls. "What is this? A missive from my very soul. Only when you delve into its depths will the truth reveal itself." His gaze fell upon it, then shot back to me, a storm of emotions brewing in his eyes. A faint smile flickered across my lips, a fragile glimmer in the shadows of uncertainty. "Fear not. It's not a punishment, it's a revelation, a twist of fate that leaves you breathless, teetering on the edge of despair and hope." Mark's heart raced as he nodded, the weight of the letter pressing against his chest, like a secret too heavy to bear. With a swift motion, he tucked it into his jacket, a final act of defiance, and rose to his feet, the air thick with tension. "Thank you, Mother, for everything you've done." As he vanished into the distance, I remained frozen by the window, my heart pounding as his car disappeared from view. I clung to the desperate hope that he would be the first to finally get it right. That fateful evening, Amanda's voice pierced through the silence, shattering the calm like glass breaking in the night. No greeting, no pleasantries, just silence hangs heavy in the air. No gentle whispers. "Is this truly your method of delivering punishment upon us? How could it come to this?" Dad would have been devastated. His heart shattered into a million pieces at the very thought of it. I maintained an eerie calmness in my voice. "Amanda! Oh, how could you think such a thing? I am not here to cast shadows upon your soul, to wield the heavy hand of punishment. No, my intentions are far from that dark path. I'm offering you a moment to embrace honour. The haunting echoes of your father's memory linger in the shadows, a ghostly presence that stirs the depths of your soul." Her laughter echoed, laced with a haunting bitterness. "What is it that you desire of me, Mother? whip up a batch of cookies and utter the words of remorse. "No," I said, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. "Remember, oh remember, the essence of your being before the cold grip of wealth overshadowed the warmth of family bonds." She slammed the phone down, the finality of the action echoing in the silence that followed. 2 days later, I sealed their fates within the envelopes and sent her and David their letters, unaware of the storm that would soon unfold. Each one stood apart, a unique tale waiting to unfold, crafted exclusively for their desires. Amanda's desperate plea for humility echoed through the air, a haunting reminder of her struggles and the weight of her pride. David's burden looms large, a weight that threatens to crush him under its relentless pressure. Mark's unveiled, a revelation that shakes the very foundation of existence. In a moment of desperation, I implored Amanda through my letter to step into the shadows of her father's legacy, to volunteer at the very community shelter he once graced with his presence twice a month. The weight of history hung heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of what once was, not for a single, breathless day, not for a mere photograph, but for 3 long, agonizing months, silently, as if the world held its breath. In a silence that screamed, it came to pass without a single word of warning. David's letter struck with unyielding clarity, cutting through the silence like a knife through flesh. With a heart pounding like a drum, I confronted him, demanding the return of the money he had so brazenly borrowed from the family business, all under the shadow of Dad's name. Money he had stealthily snatched away before Richard's world crumbled into darkness. I granted him a mere 30 days, a ticking clock, a countdown to fate. Absolutely no lawyers. Shamelessly bold. Simply take the path of righteousness. Mark's task loomed before him, a delicate whisper wrapped in the weight of profound significance. With a heavy heart, I implored him to seize the dusty old recording tapes, relics of his father's past, and breathe new life into them through the magic of digitization. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, more than 30 tapes lay scattered, each one a treasure trove of Richard's voice, his messages, his sage advice, his laughter, and his deepest thoughts left behind for his children, a poignant lifeline just in case the unthinkable happened. It was the last, heart-wrenching gift he could offer, a final act steeped in desperation and longing, but only if Mark dared to complete it. 7 agonizing days slipped through the hourglass of time. Then 2. The tension crackles in the air, a heartbeat away from chaos. In a moment that sent shivers down my spine, Mark reached out to me with a message. "Mark, you must complete tape number 4, time is running out." Little did I know, Dad had captured these moments on film. He spoke of us, of you, with a fervour that ignited the very air around him. Tears streamed down my face, a torrent unleashed after years of silence. My lips curled into a smile, a fleeting moment of joy amidst the chaos that surrounded me. Amanda, however, fell into a haunting silence. Then, on a fateful night, a photo arrived, shattering the stillness of my world. In the dim light of the cramped kitchen, Amanda stood, apron-clad, her heart racing as she shared the space with an elderly woman at the shelter. The air was thick with tension, each moment pregnant with unspoken stories and hidden struggles. Silence hung heavy in the air, a deafening void where words should have been. She simply stood there, her lips sealed, leaving a chilling tension that spoke volumes. Silence hangs heavy in the air, a void where words should be. The absence of a caption looms like a dark cloud, pregnant with unspoken truths and untold stories. What lies beneath this stillness? The tension is palpable, a dramatic pause that beckons for revelation. Silence reigns, a void where words should be. No answers, no clarity. Just an unsettling stillness that hangs heavy in the air. Only the image remains, a silent witness to the unfolding tale. Silence enveloped the moment, a heavy shroud of unspoken words hanging in the air. I stood there, paralyzed, my lips sealed tight, refusing to break the tension that crackled like electricity around us. The weight of my silence screamed louder than any response could have. I simply had no need to. She was on the brink of something monumental. David remained silent, a heavy cloud of anticipation hanging in the air, until the third week shattered the stillness. As I meticulously tended to the roses, a sudden jolt of adrenaline surged through me when his car careened into the driveway, tires screaming against the asphalt. He stormed up the path, his face a mask of fury, the envelope clutched tightly in his hand. "Do you dare to demand your money?" With a sudden, fierce motion, he thrust it forward, his eyes ablaze with intensity. "Behold, every single cent I seized. Are you satisfied now?" I fixed my gaze upon him, a mask of utter stillness cloaking my features. In that moment I declared, "No, I am not happy." But beneath the surface, a fierce pride surged within me for you. His face, a mask of stoicism, cracked ever so slightly, revealing a flicker of vulnerability beneath the hardened exterior. With a forceful thrust, he slammed the envelope into my trembling hands, his back already turned, a storm of emotions swirling in the air as he walked away, leaving me in stunned silence. I cried out, my voice echoing in the silence, desperate for him to turn back. "There's so much more at stake, David." That was merely the beginning of an unfolding saga. He remained silent, a heavy stillness hanging in the air, as if the world itself held its breath in anticipation. Yet, he refrained from slamming the door, as if the very act held a weight too heavy to bear. That fateful night, I found myself ensconced in my bed, trembling with anticipation as I unsealed one of the ancient tapes Mark had painstakingly digitized. It was Richard's voice, echoing through the shadows, a haunting reminder of what once was. Fiery, profound, enveloping. "Evelyn, if they are listening to this, it means I have already vanished into the shadows. And if they remain attentive, perhaps a glimmer of hope still lingers in the shadows." I clamped my hand over my mouth, a torrent of tears cascading down my cheeks. Convey to them the depths of my love, a love that echoes through the shadows of time, every single one of them. Yet they must navigate the treacherous path that leads them back to you. The weight of the world rests upon your shoulders. You are the anchor in this tumultuous sea of chaos. I breathed my secrets into the void of the desolate chamber. "I'm fighting, Richard. I truly am." Then I peered into the abyss of the dark hallway, where 3 doors loomed ominously, their closures whispering secrets, yet perhaps, just perhaps, on the brink of revealing their hidden truths. 3 weeks after the will reading, the house had shed its shroud of silence, no longer a tomb but a stage set for the unfolding drama of life and secrets. Grief lingered in the air, a heavy shroud that refused to lift. It lingers, an unshakable shadow, haunting every corner of existence. Yet, in the hushed, fleeting seconds, an unsettling awareness began to creep in, whispering secrets of the unknown. Sudden, electrifying movement. A pulse racing through the air. A whisper of chaos lurking just beneath the surface. What lies ahead? The tension thickens, and the world holds its breath, waiting for the next shocking twist. Amanda had sent me yet another photo, a haunting glimpse into her world. In a dimly lit corner of the shelter, she found herself folding laundry, each piece a silent testament to the lives intertwined within these walls. Her expression in the photo was raw, unmasked, a glimpse into the depths of her soul. Unadorned, bare, stripped of all pretense. No pose. The air crackles with tension, a silence so profound it feels like the world is holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm to break. The truth hangs heavy, unspoken yet palpable, as if daring anyone to challenge its stark reality. In this moment, everything is at stake, and the weight of unyielding honesty looms large. No masquerades, only Amanda. Assistance, a lifeline thrown into the tempest of despair. She left it hanging, a silence that screamed louder than words. Yet, in that suffocating silence, 1,000 unspoken truths screamed louder than any voice could dare to utter. She was fighting against the tide, her every effort a desperate plea for recognition in a world that seemed determined to overlook her. And for Amanda, the fiercely proud and razor-tongued Amanda, every attempt was a battle of wills. Mark had fallen into a haunting silence once more, But this time, it was not out of avoidance. No. This time he was ensnared in the haunting echoes of his father's voice. He spiraled into a dark obsession with the tapes, each haunting whisper pulling him deeper into madness as he listened, catalogued, and converted them one by one, consumed by an insatiable need to uncover their secrets. He dispatched updates as if they were precious jewels, each one a revelation, a gasp of wonder in the silence of the mundane. Mark, tape 11. The air thick with anticipation, a moment suspended in time, where secrets lie in wait, ready to unravel the very fabric of reality. Dad recounted the fateful day when I plummeted from my bike, a moment etched in time, fraught with tension and uncertainty. He confessed, his voice trembling with despair, that he had never felt so utterly powerless as he stood there, helplessly witnessing my tears, aching to mend what was broken but unable to do so. He declared, with a voice trembling with revelation, that it unveiled the profound lesson of respecting the pain that lay beyond his grasp. There were days when I would dare to press play on a tape, unleashing the echoes of my own voice into the abyss. Richard stands at the precipice of revelation, his voice trembling with the weight of parenting's trials, the fierce demands of leadership, and the tumultuous depths of love. Each word drips with intensity, a raw exploration of the heart's most profound struggles and triumphs. His voice pierced through the chilling darkness of the nights, igniting a warmth that defied the biting cold. In the haunting silence, I found myself ensnared, wrapped tightly in his sweater, a fragile illusion that he had merely stepped away, destined to return at any moment. But David was a tempest, raging and relentless. Silence hung in the air like a heavy fog, for he had sent no updates, leaving a void that echoed with uncertainty. He remained silent, leaving my last message hanging in the air like a ghost, unanswered and haunting. And in that moment, the truth struck me like a thunderbolt. But the money merely a facade, a glimmering illusion that masked the chaos beneath. Underneath it all, a tempest of years spent in silent fury. Years of relentless pressure to claim the title of the eldest. The formidable force. The one burdened with duty. Perhaps I had clung to him with desperate fingers, a lifeline in the storm that followed Richard's illness. Perhaps I overlooked the fact that he was mourning as well, in his own dark and convoluted manner. Yet, I found myself unable to justify the tempest of his fury, or the haunting weight of his silence. As his car thundered into the driveway, a wave of dread washed over me. I stood frozen at the window, heart racing, eyes glued to the scene unfolding before me. He hesitated, the air thick with tension, before finally raising his hand to the door, but he didn't knock right away. He sat there, frozen in the car, knuckles white as he gripped the wheel with a tension that crackled in the air. At long last, he approached the door, the air thick with anticipation. Just as his fist was about to make contact with the door, I flung it wide open, catching him off guard. His gaze pierced through me, a heartbeat suspended in time. His eyes burned with a crimson hue, a haunting testament to sleepless nights that clawed at his very soul. "May I enter this realm of yours?" he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence, a tension hanging in the air like a storm about to unleash its fury. I stepped aside, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my choice. He stood there, defiant, refusing to take a seat. He stood in the center of the living room, a tempest of anxiety swirling around him, shifting from foot to foot like a boy on the brink of a devastating reprimand. He began, his voice trembling with intensity. I read the letter again. I waited, heart pounding, breath caught in my throat, as the seconds stretched into an eternity. "You want me to give back the money?" he said, his voice dripping with tension, each word a dagger in the air. "But you see, the money is not the crux of the matter. That's not the heart of the issue at all." I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. "Absolutely not. It is absolutely not." He raked his fingers through his dishevelled hair, a tempest brewing within him. I seized it, desperate, as the waters closed in around me. How could I possibly reveal the truth to Dad? The weight of his disappointment loomed over me like a dark cloud, threatening to shatter the fragile peace we had left. I kept it from you, shrouded in silence, to spare you the burden of worry. I gazed at him, my heart pounding in my chest, the air thick with unspoken tension. Yet, deep down, you were aware of the darkness that lurked within that choice. Indeed, he breathed, his voice barely a tremor in the silence. Silence loomed ominously between us, a heavy shroud of unspoken words and unyielding tension. Then, with a breath that trembled like a fragile leaf in the wind, he plunged his hand into the depths of his jacket, emerging with a second envelope that seemed to pulse with untold secrets. "This is a receipt," he declared, his voice trembling with gravity. In a bold twist of fate, I seized control of my destiny and extinguished the loan, drawing from my own hard-earned resources, not a single cent from Dad's account this time. And thus, I have severed my ties with the company card, casting it aside like a forgotten relic of a tumultuous past. Summon the accountant at once. It has been submitted. The moment of truth has arrived. With trembling hands I grasped the envelope, its weight heavy with secrets. Yet I dared not unveil the darkness lurking within. "I'm not just doing this for the money," David declared, his voice rising with fervor, the weight of his conviction hanging in the air like a storm about to break. "I'm driven by a desperate need to cling to the fragile remnants of this family, fearing the abyss that awaits if I let go." It was the first time his words pierced through the heavy veil of grief since the funeral, a moment that hung in the air like a thunderclap, electrifying and raw. I took a bold step forward, my hand trembling as it landed on his shoulder, the weight of the moment hanging thick in the air. "I want that too," I whispered, my voice trembling with unspoken desire. He shut his eyes, a fleeting moment of darkness enveloping him. My heart aches with an unbearable longing for him. I do as well. At long last, he sank into the chair, the weight of the world pressing down upon him. Silence enveloped us, thick and heavy, as we lingered in the aftermath of unspoken truths. Words had abandoned us, leaving only the weight of our shared presence, a fragile thread binding us in the stillness of the moment. That fateful night, I prepared tea for the two of us, a seemingly simple act that would soon unravel into a tempest of emotions. It had been ages since I had done that for David, not since his teenage years when he would stumble through the door, heart shattered or simmering with frustration. He would perch on the counter, eyes glued to me as I stirred the pot, weaving a spell that seemed almost magical. As he took a deliberate sip, a tension-filled silence enveloped the room. With a piercing gaze, he finally broke the stillness, his voice laced with intrigue. "So, is this a test? Will you bestow upon us the inheritance, but only after we demonstrate our worthiness?" I smiled, a mere flicker of light in the shadowy depths of despair. "No, David, this is not a mere test. It looms before you, a gateway to the unknown, shrouded in mystery and anticipation. There is no need for you to conquer any obstacles. With every step, you must stride through the chaos, head held high, embodying the essence of dignity amidst the storm." He let out a hollow laugh, the sound echoing with a chilling emptiness. "What? No bonus points?" I chuckled, though perhaps with a hint less reprimand. In that fleeting moment, our smiles ignited, pure and unguarded, as if the world around us had vanished, leaving only the electric connection between us. The following day, Amanda made her dramatic entrance. She lingered at the threshold, a haunting silhouette against the dim light, clutching a box as if it contained the weight of the world. "What is that?" I demanded. From the depths of the shelter, she proclaimed, "Behold, the creation of homemade bread. A marvel of culinary artistry, born from the depths of the kitchen, where flour and water collide in a passionate embrace, rising to life in a dance of heat and time. Will it be a triumph or a tragic misstep? Only the taste buds shall reveal the truth." The ladies, with a glint of mischief in their eyes, believed you would relish this unexpected surprise. I revealed to them the secret of your Sunday baking rituals. My eyes widened in disbelief, a jolt of shock coursing through me. Could it be that Amanda is haunted by a memory so profound it sends shivers down her spine? Such an extraordinary occurrence. Unbelievable. Thank you, I uttered, my fingers trembling as I grasped the box, a weight of anticipation hanging in the air. She pivoted, her heart racing, but then froze in place. Mum, I swear this isn't about the money. I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. Oh, the weight of that knowledge. It hangs in the air, thick with unspoken truths and the tremors of revelation. I know. She paused, her heart racing, caught in the throes of uncertainty. All I crave is for you to truly see me, not the distorted reflection of myself that my father despised. My heart clenched in a vice of despair. He never harbored hatred for you. Her gaze pierced through me, a tempest of guilt and hope swirling within those depths. He loved you. I breathed, the weight of the words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. He was engulfed in a tempest of fear, terrified at the thought of losing your very essence, your identity slipping through your fingers like sand in an hourglass. Amanda's head dipped in a slow, deliberate nod, as if the weight of the world rested upon her shoulders. And then, in a moment that shattered the very fabric of reality, she vanished into thin air. That fateful night, I pressed play on yet another tape, the air thick with anticipation and dread. Richard's voice erupted, shattering the silence of the room like thunder, reverberating through the very air they breathed. This one is for Amanda, a tribute wrapped in the echoes of fate. If she can hear me now, I need her to recall those days when she crafted magnificent cities from Lego, her innocent voice echoing. One day, Daddy, I will build real ones. The weight of those words hangs in the air, a promise laced with dreams and the bittersweet sting of time passing. In that moment, she stood unyielding, a tempest of courage against the storm of uncertainty. I pray she still possesses that fierce flame within her soul. Hold it together, Mandy. This is not the time to unravel. With my eyes shut tight, I surrendered to the torrent of tears cascading down my cheeks. On that fateful Sunday morning they arrived, all three of them, united in a way that sent shivers down the spine. It was a twist of fate, an unexpected turn that shattered the calm. Nothing could have prepared them for what was about to unfold. Yet, in a twist of fate, they converged within mere moments of one another. We sat in the living room, the air thick with unspoken words, a palpable tension hanging like a storm cloud, yet somehow it was not hostile. I finished the tapes, Mark declared, his voice trembling with a mix of triumph and dread. I've been toiling away at the shelter for a month now, Amanda declared, her voice trembling with the weight of her revelation. I fixed the accounts, David declared, his voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. I gazed upon them, my heart racing, the air thick with tension, gazed upon them with an intensity that pierced through the very fabric of reality. For the first time since the funeral, I laid eyes on my children, and the air crackled with unspoken words and heavy hearts. Not the avaricious, wrathful strangers who clashed in the shadow of a coffin, but the very souls Richard and I had nurtured. Imperfect. A haunting echo of what could have been. Crimson stains the ground. A testament to the battle fought. The air hangs heavy with the weight of pain and despair, a silent scream echoing in the shadows. Wounded, yet not defeated, the heart beats on, a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. But the struggle continues. With a heavy heart, I declared, I have one final letter for each of you. With trembling hands, I presented them 3 pristine envelopes, each one a harbinger of secrets yet to be unveiled. Within the depths of each, a singular, haunting sentence lay in wait. When the desperate grasp for wealth fades, only then will the riches flow, unshackled from the chains of identity. And beneath it all, a check lay waiting, a silent promise of fortune and fate. But alas, not the entire inheritance. Not yet. The tension hangs thick in the air, a palpable silence that screams for resolution, merely a whisper of sufficiency. Just enough to send shivers down their spines, a haunting echo of what once was. Love, a fierce flame, does not extinguish with the final breath. It lingers, haunting the shadows of existence, defying the cold grip of mortality. It pushes you to the brink, and if you dare to face it, it transforms you into something new. As the envelopes were torn open, silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of tension hanging in the air. Each word read was a dagger, piercing through the stillness, leaving them all breathless and speechless. But Amanda smiled, a glimmer of defiance dancing in her eyes, as if the world around her had crumbled, yet she stood unyielding, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. David, trembling, wiped his eyes, the weight of despair crashing down upon him like a relentless storm. And Mark, the quiet one, leaned in, his voice barely a breath, a secret hanging in the air like a storm about to break. "Thank you, Mother, for everything." I leaned back in the chair, my heart pounding with overwhelming emotion. And in that moment, after what felt like an eternity of solitude, the weight of loneliness finally lifted, leaving me breathless with the realization that I was not alone anymore. The air in the living room hung delicately, as if the house had finally released a breath it had clutched tightly for an eternity, a moment of liberation that echoed through the silence. My heart raced as I beheld my children, perched on that same couch, side by side, their innocence a stark contrast to the storm brewing within me. There shall be no disputes, no clashes of wills, no fiery exchanges. Silence reigned supreme. Not a trace of venom laced their voices. No tension crackled ominously beneath their words. In a moment that felt like a scene pulled from the depths of memory, I beheld not merely my adult children, but the echoes of their childhood selves, vivid and haunting, dancing before my eyes. Amanda, a force of nature, commanding and dazzling even in her youth. David, forever donning the mantle of the protector, his heart a fortress against the chaos that surrounds him. And there was Mark, the tender-hearted dreamer, who would drift into slumber with a book resting upon his chest, while Richard's coat enveloped him like a protective shield against the chaos of the world. "I thought you'd scream at us," Amanda exclaimed, her voice slicing through the heavy silence like a knife. "I thought you'd call us ungrateful, or throw us out after the funeral." I offered her a fleeting smile, a mere whisper of warmth in the chilling air between us. In the depths of my mind, a tempest brewed. I pondered, weighed the consequences, and felt the weight of the world pressing down on my thoughts. That sent a ripple of laughter through David, a sound both unexpected and electric. But then, a revelation struck me like lightning, and I gazed intently at each of them. "Despite everything, you remain my children. Grief, that relentless spectre, does not always weave threads of kindness into the hearts of the broken. Instead, it can twist and contort, revealing the darker corners of the soul. At times, love morphs into a whirlwind of panic, and from that chaos, selfishness emerges, clawing its way to the surface. How could I ever surrender when your father believed in me so fiercely? His unwavering spirit compels me to fight for you, no matter the cost." Amanda looked down, fiddling with the check between her fingers. Fury coursed through my veins, a tempest unleashed, and it was not merely the will that ignited this inferno within me. Fury coursed through me as I realized he had vanished without a word, leaving no farewell, no personal note to mark his departure. The silence was deafening, a betrayal that cut deeper than any goodbye could have. Mark's throat tightened, a storm brewing within him. "Oh, you didn't dare to finish the tapes, did you?" Her gaze pierced through the air, locking onto him with an intensity that could ignite the very atmosphere around them. With a dramatic flourish, he declared, "There's one more," as he plunged his hand into the depths of his bag, emerging triumphantly with a USB stick that seemed to pulse with untold secrets. It bears the ominous mark of Amanda. Classified. I turned a deaf ear to it. Amanda grasped it delicately, as if it were a fragile shard of glass, ready to shatter at any moment. Her hands quaked with an intensity that spoke of unspeakable turmoil. She nodded. Then David's voice trembled, each word dripping with a raw vulnerability I hadn't witnessed in years. Fear gripped my heart, a chilling dread that you both viewed me as nothing more than a failure. "The business lies in ruins. a chaotic testament to my failures. In the shadows of my own making, I concealed the truth, believing I could mend the shattered pieces before the storm of Dad's discovery unleashed its fury. Time slipped through my fingers like sand, and I was left gasping in the wake of my own naivety. His gaze pierced through the air, locking onto mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. How could I let his final recollection of me be that haunting moment? As my fingers brushed against his hand, a jolt of electricity surged through the air, igniting a tension that hung heavy between us, a moment suspended in time, fraught with unspoken words and unyielding emotions. "He was proud of you," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "Even when you made mistakes, especially then." David's eyes darted, a storm brewing within as he fought to contain the tempest of feelings surging through him. Mark leaned forward, his arms trembling on his knees, a storm brewing in his eyes. "Neither of you were alone in bearing the weight of regrets that haunted the shadows. I should have visited more. How could I have been so blind? I should have probed deeper, unraveling the mysteries of life. Of you. Of it all." The weight of unasked questions hangs heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of what could have been. I smiled at him, a flicker of light in the shadows of uncertainty. He abandoned those answers, casting them into the abyss of uncertainty. "You just helped unlock them." The air was thick with unspoken words as we lingered in a haunting silence, each heartbeat echoing the tension that hung between us. The kind of silence that hangs heavy in the air, pulsating with unspoken words, a tension that electrifies the atmosphere, brimming with unspoken truths, lingering in the air like a heavy fog, for they had lost their urgency, their need to be voiced. With a sudden surge of determination, I rose to my feet and strode purposefully toward the cabinet, lurking in the shadows of the hallway. With trembling hands, I retrieved the leather-bound book from its hiding place, its weight heavy with secrets, and placed it upon the table, the air thick with anticipation. "This is the legacy journal," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of its significance. For years, Richard and I clung to it, a secret shrouded in shadows, a bond forged in silence. We penned our hearts into letters for you, not for the moments of our demise, but for the fierce flames of our existence. In the haunting echoes of the past, when the shadows of our identities flickered like dying embers, you sought to grasp the essence of who we truly were. Who are you, really? They gazed upon it as if it were a divine relic, shrouded in mystery and reverence. With a surge of determination, I pressed on, my voice trembling with intensity. "I want you to add to it," I declared, the weight of my words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. "Compose your own letters, for your children. The very essence of hope, and the fragile threads of tomorrow's dreams, or the very partners you vowed to cherish, or even those we do not know. If fate should ever intervene, let it bring forth treasures beyond mere currency. Let the words emerge from the shadows, a tempest of expression ready to unleash their fury upon the world." Mark's smile cut through the tension like a knife, a flicker of light in the encroaching darkness. Oh, how he would have revelled in that moment. The very thought sends a shiver down the spine, a bittersweet reminder of his absence. What a sight it would have been, his laughter echoing through the air, a ghostly presence lingering in the shadows of our memories. Amanda nodded, her teeth sinking into her lip, a storm of emotions brewing beneath her calm exterior. David rose to his feet, his voice trembling with resolve. "We will do better, Mum. We shall." Indeed, I uttered those words. In the weeks that followed, everything spiraled into chaos. Amanda began to appear with alarming frequency, not merely to grace me with their presence, but to immerse themselves in the heart of the shelter, where lives hang in the balance. Even on days I knew she was exhausted. In a whirlwind of compassion, she unveiled her treasured baking recipes to the eager women gathered around her, igniting a spark of camaraderie. With fervour in her heart, she launched a weekend food drive, a poignant tribute to Richard's legacy, as the community rallied together in his honour. David strode back into the company, but this time he wore the mantle of an advisor, not the crown of a leader. He trained the new team, made peace with the accountant, and worked quietly behind the scenes without demanding recognition. He took the stage, a figure transformed, hosting intimate workshops for the eager young entrepreneurs. With fervour, he imparted the lessons of business ethics, the very principles he had once cast aside in the shadows of his past. In a bold move that sent ripples through the community, Mark unveiled a digital archive, a sanctuary of sound and memory, named Voices of Dad. This free audio library, brimming with Richard's poignant tapes and heartfelt letters, stands as a beacon for those grappling with the heavy burdens of grief, regret, and the relentless weight of family expectations. In a whirlwind of chaos and intrigue, it exploded into the public eye in less than a month. He didn't monetize it. He adamantly refused to comply, his defiance echoing in the charged air. "This is his voice," he revealed to me, a haunting echo that sent shivers down my spine. "It must be liberated." Messages poured in from every corner, a cacophony of voices rising in a tumultuous wave. Strangers, their hearts laid bare, confessed that the tapes ignited a fire within them, compelling them to reach out to their parents, to extend forgiveness to their siblings, or to unleash tears that had long been imprisoned within. The weight of emotion hung heavy in the air, a testament to the profound impact of those haunting recordings. Richard was gone, yet his voice reverberated through the shadows, a haunting reminder that lingered in the air, more powerful than ever before. And I? What fate awaits me in this twisted tale of uncertainty? In that moment, a spark ignited within me, and I found myself reborn, stepping into the light of existence once more. In a twist of fate, I found myself stepping into the enigmatic world of a book club. In a moment of quiet desperation, I thrust my hands into the earth, burying vibrant new flowers that dared to bloom amidst the chaos of life. Once more, I found myself in the kitchen, the oven's heat swirling around me like a tempest. I baked again, as if compelled by an unseen force, the ingredients whispering secrets of sweetness and despair. The aroma filled the air, a tantalizing promise of what was to come, yet lurking beneath was the tension of uncertainty. What would? It was a moment frozen in time, a haunting echo of the past, something I had not dared to do since the shadow of his diagnosis loomed over us. And every Sunday, the air thick with anticipation, all three of my children gathered around my table, their presence a bittersweet reminder of what once was. Not a soul dared to utter a word about the inheritance. In a world where greed often reigned supreme, an astonishing silence enveloped the scene. No one dared to clash over the spoils of property. We erupted into laughter, a sound that shattered the silence like glass breaking in the night. There were moments when tears streamed down our faces, the weight of our emotions crashing over us like a tidal wave. Yet, amidst the chaos and turmoil, we emerged, transformed, renewed, and undeniably healed. On a fateful evening, Amanda pressed play on the tape, a haunting melody crafted solely for her ears, unaware of the storm it would unleash. As I meticulously folded the laundry, a chilling sound pierced the air, emanating from her phone speakers, sending shivers down my spine. She sat on the porch, tears streaming down her face, a silent storm of sorrow brewing within her. Richard's voice echoed through the air, heavy with emotion. "Mandy, you were always my wild one, the tempest within me. There were moments, dark and tumultuous, when your essence eluded me, and the love I offered felt like a mere shadow of what you truly craved. But I have always loved you, through every storm and shadow that dared to come between us. If you're hearing this, I pray you're not consumed by rage towards me. Oh, how I long for you to grasp this truth. You were never, ever too much." A whisper in the chaos, a flicker of light amidst the shadows. "Remember, always remember, you were always more than enough, a blazing star in a darkened sky, illuminating the shadows of doubt that dared to creep in. Your essence, a fierce tempest, defied the mundane, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who witnessed your brilliance. Never forget that truth, for it echoes through the corridors of time, a relentless reminder of your unparalleled worth." Amanda's gaze pierced through the veil of tears, her eyes shimmering with a tempest of emotions. He uttered his farewell, a final breath hanging heavy in the air. I approached her, my heart racing, and enveloped her in a desperate embrace. "No," I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. He uttered those haunting words. Come back. The air thickened with tension, each syllable echoing like a desperate plea in the shadows of uncertainty. And she did. The air crackled with tension as the moment hung in the balance, a heartbeat away from revelation. They all succumbed to the inevitable. Not for the money, oh no. The stakes are far greater than mere coins. A tempest brews beneath the surface, where passion and purpose collide in a whirlwind of ambition and desire. Not for the will, but for the heart's deepest desires. But for the family we had come perilously close to losing. And together, we rose from the ashes, reconstructing what was once lost, piece by agonizing piece. One fateful Sunday at a time, the clock ticks ominously, each moment heavy with unspoken tension.